Welcome back. This is Tian with World Insight. The development of its aerospace and aviation industry, China is on track to become the world's largest aviation market. The country is a major customer of Airbus products. Chinese deliveries represent nearly a quarter of the European aircraft manufacturers' commercial aircraft production. On Tuesday, for the very first time, Airbus delivered an aircraft assembled in Tianjin to Europe. During French President Emmanuel Macron's visit to China in April this year, Airbus inked a deal with Chinese partners to build a second production line at its site in Tianjin, ramping up the factory's capability. This week, I visited the Airbus Tianjin delivery center there and met up with General Manager Dr. Christoph Schrempp, who is also serving as the chair of the Tianjin Chapter of the European Union Chamber of Commerce in China. So I think you are having exciting days these days, isn't it?
Yes, indeed. It was kind of history-making week for us in Tianjin. As after more than 4 years, we continued, we restarted to deliver again aircraft to non-Chinese customers. In 2008, we started with the deliveries here and with operations. Actually, the first aircraft was delivered in June 2009.
Yeah.
8 years after the project was launched in 2016, we were renamed from FAL Asia to from FAL China to FAL Asia. And that allows us also to deliver aircraft outside of China.
And looking at 2026, another production line likely coming into being, that will be even more exciting.
Yes, with the visit of President Macron, we witnessed the signature of our second FAL project. We started now to be ready for launching production actually end of 2025. That's for us also another thrill, since then this place will look most probably a little bit different, more crowded, more buildings, and for us also the chance really to have new employees and getting further with our company here.
Wonderful. Well, I guess we're all ready. Let's get to our seat. I feel like having a blast just letting you, showing me around, seeing the aircraft being delivered to the customers. It's really something unusual in my life, I almost feel. I don't know about you because you've been working for 10 years here.
Yeah, I can see it in your eyes. You're really very much excited. And it's true, when you're used to have every morning you come to your office, an aircraft standing in front of your window, you get a little bit used to. Nevertheless, this week was for me also quite exciting, I have to say, and refreshing, since we had two very special events this week I'd like to share with you on the ceremony to deliver, after 4 years again, an aircraft to outside of China. It was Wizz Air who was picking up an A321 aircraft assembled in Tianjin and delivered from Tianjin to Wizz Air, and they just took off that night back to Budapest, all very happy. And it's so amazing again to be back, so to say, in the international business. When the project started, to look a little bit in the history, in 2008, we were called FAL China. At that point in time, we delivered only to China mainland customers. With the second phase of the project in 2016, we were renamed to FAL Asia. That gave us the opportunity also to serve Asian customers. And most recently, we then even delivered back an aircraft to Wizz Air, which is an airline based in Budapest, mainly with the headquarters. For us, really extremely exciting. And that is also part of our industrial concept. We have 4 assembly lines in total, 4 sites, 4 assembly sites.
Right.
Hamburg, Toulouse, Mobile and Tianjin, where Tianjin was earlier set up than Mobile. And that gives us the flexibility to provide our customers the utmost service.
Are you going to have one ceremony after another? I mean, your life will be full of ceremonies because you have all your planes delivered, almost several of them every day, right?
We don't have every day a ceremony, but we take a lot of care also on our customer expectations, and then taking the first aircraft from Tianjin for sure is a moment to commemorate and to memorize.
But I know there are a lot of hard efforts, especially how to graduate from the earlier 3 to 4 years quite quiet actions to now being visible in a big way on the international stage. So what is this transformation, or should I say, what does this transition mean to you and your team?
Yeah, actually, it's a very good point. Yeah? We started here, as I mentioned earlier, in 2008, and we started very slowly. It took us half a year to finish the first aircraft and to deliver it. Yeah? We had the inauguration in September, and on 23rd of June 2009, the aircraft was delivered. Yeah? And then we ramped up slowly to a rate of 4 aircrafts a month. And that was the year in 2013 when I joined Airbus Tianjin here and then took over the delivery center. And from there we were moving towards a rate of 6 shortly before the COVID outbreak. And that for sure meant the team had to adapt the faster speed. We for sure had also to qualify a few more people to be able to have 3 shifts. And that then all took place here. Also to give you an idea, when we were starting, we were sending people back to Europe for 9 months so that they train how to assemble the aircraft in Hamburg before they were coming then here to Tianjin, where they still got trainers who helped them in the first stages. But now for sure we are mature enough after more than 15 years of assembling aircraft and 14 years of delivering aircraft to train the people by ourselves and grow inside the teams and qualify them.
And also the models have been expanding, isn't it?
We took the opportunity, let's say, that was coming a little bit from the pandemic to slow down the production or to stop the production and to modify our stations so that they are able to produce A321s. Why? A321 is a quite popular aircraft. It has many advantages for the airlines. The fuselage is 7 meters longer and you can have up to 244 packs. Yeah? In an A320 you only get close to 200 packs. So it means for the airline a possibility to generate much more revenue in the way they want to generate revenue. Either putting more complex cabins inside, having a brighter variety on seating, yeah? Or if you're a low-cost carrier, all full with economy class seats. Huh?
What do you make of the investment environment here in China for European companies like yours?
The investment environment in China, unfortunately, is to a certain extent differentiated depending on which industry you're in. High-tech industries where there is still a need inside China are very much welcome. And definitely aviation, everything around aviation is still very much welcome. We should be aware that it's not the same situation for every other industry. If you try to sell fire trucks in China, fortunately you will not be successful anymore. So yeah, it's a fragmented landscape. There are still some industries that are highly welcome. We all hope that the opening up continues and that there will be fair chances also for other industries. Since for sure companies are still interested to come to China, whereof the perception changed over the recent years, but nevertheless there are companies who are interested to participate in this huge market.
You know, there were earlier difficulties with the investment treaty. There's of course a lot of geopolitics that having huge impact on business everywhere. And we just finished 3 years of difficult time. So what is the expectation from the European business community?
Biggest concern actually of the European businesses here in China is the potential slowdown of the Chinese economy. And there we have to see, there are some positive signals from the first quarter. A city like Tianjin, which definitely had a hard time in 2022, reported a 5.5% GDP growth in the first quarter. We are all for sure keen to see how that continued. Did it continue? But we unfortunately also observe in many areas that the recovery doesn't take so quick place as we might have hoped for. Many were hoping that after the restrictions are gone, the economy very quickly takes off. This is not yet the case, and this has to be followed. Yeah? And that's also the concern of our businessmen. And then we have to also see some of the consequences out of the last 3 years are not yet fully digested. Many companies over that time changed a little bit the strategy, adapted the business in China, made it more local for local instead of local for global. And we have to see how this continues.
Meanwhile, you also see China is manufacturing, researching about its own aircraft. Looking at your peers, how do you look at the overall picture?
We always welcome their competition. And I think it is good for the market to have not only 2 manufacturers, but 3. Everything else, to a certain extent, the market will decide. And we focus, let's say, on our further development. Yeah? We are striving forward to make aviation sustainable. The Cebu aircraft, which takes off tomorrow, for example, will have 40.9% SAF on board, yeah? Sustainable aviation fuel. And on that on we are looking. That is our ambition, really, to have sustainable aviation and to develop our products further so that we can cut down the CO2 emissions of our products.
That's certainly a big step up.
Yes. So.
You've been here 10 years. Wow, how time flies.
How time flies, and also how time changed over that time. To be frank, I had a short interruption after 4 years going to Beijing, but then returning in the times of COVID. And that maybe also may give a little bit an idea. When I was coming to Tianjin first time in 2013, that factory here was working like a Swiss clockwork. We produced an aircraft a week, we delivered an aircraft a week. The situation in total became more complex, yeah? And let's also say, while we were ranking up, we faced the one or the other hiccup in our supply chain, and that somehow then also impacted the industrial performance here in Tianjin. So in general, it's unfortunately not longer like a Swiss clockwork. We produce one and we deliver one. We have also sometimes the fact that customers are asked to postpone potentially delivery or store the aircrafts for them. So it became more complex in general, and with the overall global complexity and uncertain. But I have to say, especially this year again, we are on a much better track and have a quite good pace in getting the aircrafts produced and delivered on time.
Communicating with you on social media, and you told me that you love the Tianjin food also, and I love your team as well from the local. In a different culture, but very devoted to your work, while at the same time, very much a friend to your team and to your customers.
I was coming actually open-minded, and what I discovered was so interesting for me, and I really appreciate very much the kindness here and the friendliness of the people. Also, not only inside Airbus, also on the street. So I never really felt like a Lauwei, or that really didn't happen, and that's one of the elements that made me considering things differently and seeing things differently. And I really appreciate very much with working with my team. They share my dedication to service our customers. Yeah? Since what we're doing in delivery is mainly servicing our customer, we try to make it happen that they get their product on time, on quality. Yeah? And if you can feel that resonates with your teammates and that they share the same passion, that's quite encouraging. Yeah? And I have to say, I like this way the things are going here. If we need to start a delivery on a Sunday morning, we start the delivery on a Sunday morning. Don't dream to try to do a similar thing in Hamburg. Yes, for me it was a life-changing experience coming to Tianjin.